the audio is coming okay?
Yep.
Like I sound okay? Because
Mhm.
it's just the mic on the iPad.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I have this, and I try to use it on the laptop, but either with or without it wasn't working. So did I lose you guys?
Oh
Nope.
no.
Okay, because it was blacking out there for a second.
Oh, there it goes. The other one finally dropped. It had it had you in there twice, but it just finally went away.
Oh, right. That was the computer, because I didn't know how to use Hangout, so I just turned off my computer. Like, threw it out the window. That's the only way I could turn it off.
It's like, oh my God, the files are in the computer.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Sleepy.
Yeah. He literally just woke up. So
That's cool. Where are you guys located?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville. All right.
I'm in New York.
Okay. Whereabouts? The city?
No, Schenectady. Well, Albany right now.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'm in the city.
Yeah.
It's like, it's madness here. Like,
Yeah.
it's like mass panic.
Yeah, I saw a picture of Times Square completely empty. It was weird.
Yeah, a friend of mine lives like on 42nd, like right downtown, and she said it's like abandoned. It's like it'd be good for filmmakers. You could shoot it.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I have a friend in San Francisco, and their friend was taking pictures like how the streets are empty. I'm like, man, you should get a show.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's wild. It's amazing.
Okay. If you want to start, we are all ready.
Sorry?
If you want to start, we're ready. So
Okay, well, there was a moment there where Dylan was talking and it
yeah, and then it did.
So you caught that too.
Yeah.
So if that happens, what should I do? Like I just like nod and go on, like as if, or acknowledge it during like the recording, because you're gonna actually like record at one point, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's gonna just retry, and I'm guessing. Yeah, he just like.
Or you could edit it out. You could edit like a section out if it's.
Yeah, yeah. I don't do much editing, but
Okay, I just want to know what like the protocol is and stuff.
Oh yeah, we're very laid back on this. Like, I basically cut the beginning off, so like all of this, it's usually cut off, and then I cut off any end part if like we talk after the actual podcast is over, because we do an audio version, and then I strip the audio from the video, and then I put that on Anchor, and then that goes to Spotify and other places.
Cool. And so you have a comic book shop, both of you?
We have a digital platform, and then we're gonna start selling physical comics at some point soon.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't really see the link to that, but I'll send it to me so I could like follow up.
Yeah, it's all free right now. So anyone that wants to read, like, there's like 82 comics on there now, or 81. So yeah,
indie stuff.
Yep, it's just all indie. So
that's good. I'd like to get on the ground floor of that, you know.
Yeah. So there's a few that are not the greatest, but it's like indie. So
yeah.
What is he doing? Frozen? No, he's like restarting the computer or something.
I'm gonna get some water.
Okay.
All right. Ready.
Yeah, he was
ready for showtime.
Yeah, I think he's like restarting his computer for some reason.
Oh. No, I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like, for me, it's like little things like this is like being in the entertainment business or something. I just kind of like it. I always get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I saw your comic on Instagram. It looks awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I've been planning to do a new one, and I'm strategizing.
Yay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Good thing this is why we record on my desktop, and I use my laptop for this, because my laptop just died. It was like,
Oh, that's what
I
happened.
don't like living anymore.
Is that why your audio cut out for like a quick
My
second?
audio cut out, but I also couldn't hear you guys. And then I left to try to come back in. Then my video was doing this to me.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my my laptop had a mini stroke. So I think it's done.
Cool.
Nice. What I missed?
Just talking about his comic.
So you guys got Big Boss comic, a link to that, and then it's a link.
Yeah, the one, I think some Dropbox link. I forgot what it was. It the file wasn't there anymore, so I couldn't view it.
I sent an updated one to Greg. What to you?
Yeah. Maybe I didn't see that one, but yeah. Then there's other links that I just didn't have time to look at, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, did you click on the one from the email that was the link to the book?
I don't know which one I clicked on.
Oh, okay, it's the PDF then. Yeah, the Dropbox.
Yeah, that one.
I did the old one when I sent you the new one, but I don't know. Well, I mean, it was this. Did you get any glimpse of this?
Oh, I
book?
saw a picture of that, but I
Okay.
didn't yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you about it. You'll
Yeah, that's what we're gonna go over. Everything.
It's a lot of words.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you're
he reads a lot,
you're
as you can see.
now, this would have put you to sleep for sure.
Oh, we both read nonfiction, so.
Oh, really? You would really love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, all of that's nonfiction.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I
Yeah.
love it too.
And I'm trying to write one too for us. So.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it
about? Starting our business and then where we're going with it.
That's
So,
great.
yeah, it's all based off of microwave instruction for Chinese food.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the name of it. Yeah.
What is the name?
5 on power level 5.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's a working title, I'm sure. I mean, 'cause with mine, I had. Maybe I'll save this for. Are we on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because with mine,
I never usually do introduction things for this. I did it once and it was I don't know, it felt weird to me. So
Yeah,
I might.
okay, so we're
Yeah.
just chilling and talking. But yeah, with mine, I had 2 pages of working titles.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had tons of working titles and then subtitles, and it was all, and I worked on it between freelancing for almost 2.5 years that I was writing it, and then in the end, this title, somebody suggested it at a a writing meetup, and I liked it, and it was going to be making a living or it's a living, and I thought it's a living kind of sounded like I get no respect, or that kind of a catchy sort of comedic line.
Yeah.
I went with that.
Huh.
And
Okay.
then a long ass subtitle so that it so people could find it in searches.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, that's the keywords there. Go for those long tail keywords.
Yeah, I researched a lot about the web, this cover design. I researched a lot and actually designed a totally different cover that I liked. Just something I had in my mind, I saw, and then it didn't make sense. So then I researched that to make sure that I design a cover for the genre, because a lot of nonfiction have white covers. with big letters. And then I try to make it artistic. And so I'm really proud of it. I mean, like, I don't know, it's my, it's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll find it useful.
Okay.
Nice. Where'd you get it printed, by the way? Because I don't know if you were talking about that before.
Well, it's currently print on demand. And my favorite production value, I just love the feeling of it, is the Amazon one. You know, it's got like cream interior pages, which are really nice. And then the cover has like, I chose the matte opposed to glossy. And it's just like, it's a nice floppy, you know, it's like a nice feeling paperback. This one, which is the hardcover, is through Drive-Through Comics. Have you guys used Drive-Through Comics?
No, I heard of it, but no.
Yeah, you know, they offer everything like hardcover like this. You could do hardcover full color interior, you know, which is pretty sweet. And it's evenly, like, decently priced. And then they have hardcover black and white, a paperback, which is good, but I believe it's automatically like glossy cover and white pages inside. And I don't, even this is white, and I would prefer, well, for the color you need white pages, but I don't know, I prefer cream. And the Amazon one, it's like black and white interior on the cream paper, and I think it looks great. I just really love it. Whilst the Kindle is in full color. So, and then I'm planning to record an audiobook.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
People that don't like reading.
Yeah. that's me. I like reading. It's more just like I can listen to audiobooks on the way to like work. So yeah.
So the printing right now, it's just been through Amazon Print on Demand and Drive-Through Comics, which, you know, that's pretty good. And then they offer like a PDF download. And it's been selling pretty decently just on Drive-Through Comics. I have like a little ad that they run, and you know, it's a smaller audience, I guess, than Amazon, but I think it's easier to reach.
Yeah. There's a guy that's on our website. And he keeps saying to me, he's like, I don't want to sell my book on Amazon anymore because like nobody's buying it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you have to build a fan base first. So
yeah,
that's one of the reasons that we switched all of the comics on our website to free. So we're gonna help everybody build their fan bases up, because another person that's on our platform is like, well, technically everything should be free right now anyway. Not because of the virus, but that was one of the reasons. Because like you have to build up a fan base before you can like actually get money. So
yeah.
because
actually, just this morning, I made like a 5-day free Kindle thing on Amazon. You know how you could go in and do like a promotion. So I just clicked this to be free, starting like tonight at midnight, up until the end of Friday, and then same with like the 2 Big Boss graphic novels, and then I'm gonna just share it on social media, and you know, whoever is bored.
yeah. Did you ever do like Facebook ads for that or anything?
I did. The Facebook ads, I didn't spend too much because I don't like spending money before I make it. And it's like a constant battle for me, because I don't like doing, because it's a living. So, so I need to justify the expense. And I ran one that I think right when I launched it for $75, and it went like that. Like it just like the money, like just all the clicks like happened, and I didn't really get a lot of conversion. Most of the sales were like direct, you know, like that I messaged or I shared it in a group. So that was, and initially I didn't check on the demographics, but then more recently I ran an Instagram ad, and that gave me really interesting insights, because they have a thing, insights, you know. And long story short, my demographic is young ladies between the ages of 13 to 17 in
Yeah,
Britain.
books in general, nonfiction books are primarily, well, books in general bought by women. The only weird like statistical overlap is when it comes to nonfiction books. Men start to buy more books again, but I think women still buy more books overall, even in the nonfiction section. Just like that, it's like
Oh,
it goes like this. Oh, do we lose me again?
Uh, back now. So
Oh.
you said statistically.
Oh, I was saying that women buy more books in general, but when it comes to nonfiction books, men buy more. They don't buy more books than women, but they buy more books than they would if it was nonfiction or if it was fictional.
Right, because they read more like self-help stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. While women don't like to help themselves.
But no, they still do. It's just because like women, well, I just meant like any nonfiction books, but yeah, women in general are the ones that spend most of the money when something's bought online. Like if you want to, like even because I was doing marketing for a fitness center in upstate New York, and I did research through another marketing company that like focuses on only fitness companies. And they were like, if you don't even want to waste your money trying to target men, just target women, because most of the time they're the ones that are going to buy. And even if a guy comes, it's probably like the boyfriend or husband, and they're dragging them with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Oh, interesting. Well, I mean, this demographic that I discovered, I think it was maybe the the thumbnail of the drawing of the girl on the book, that might have attracted them. But yeah, I would imagine that a lot of women, maybe young women, would buy them for their boyfriend. Like that shows interest in being a freelancer or an artist. They go, oh, he might like this for his birthday's coming up or something like that. Women are more thoughtful in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
yes,
usually,
that's what I discovered. I think to answer your question, that was fascinating, and I've been trying to research and strategize how to market, and I've been looking up like if I should be present on TikTok, for example, which is a younger demographic. But then I don't, I'm an older gentleman, and I don't want to seem like creepy. But then again, anything I would post, it would be towards the book. So it's not like I'm trying to do. I don't know what the hell they do there. Like just like trying to do their weird contests.
you can just do like a weird dance and hold the book.
Yeah.
So we usually start episodes like saying the episode title. We never introduce ourselves. I don't know why. That's probably like a thing we should change, because some guy actually asked me that was on our podcast. He's like, you guys don't ever introduce yourselves, and you guys aren't like Joe Rogan status, so like people don't know who you are. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. So
I like actually, it's very comfortable hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
It's more there's a fun show in New York. It's called the Comic Book Club Live, and they record it. It's an audio podcast, but they record it in front of kind of a studio audience. So there's like, there's people like sitting in like like it's like a little stage, and they bring you out. They introduce you. You get a mic, and then they bring you out like from the curtain. Like Johnny Carson and stuff. And that's cool. It's like more showy. And then
That's cool.
I'm definitely like I'm conscious because I can't be fidgety, sorry, because people are watching, so I have to pretend that it's like somebody's watching a TV show.
Yeah.
But this I can scratch my nose.
Yeah,
Oh my God! Don't touch your face.
Can't touch my own face.
Yeah, I saw a podcast, but it was in like video form too. that was on YouTube, and the comedian Bo Burnham was on there. I don't know if you watch any stand-up
I
comedy.
don't.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of comedy, but I don't know him.
Yeah.
He's like a performance-based art
Yeah.
a comedian where like he has a like the whole thing's pre-scripted. He doesn't do a lot of what's it called, like free flow or playing off the audience, and it's very elaborate. Like he'll play music, he'll have light shows, like he'll have a bunch of random stuff for his thing.
Cool.
Yeah, he goes so he goes from like song to like a poem. So so it goes from like him playing on the keyboard like dun, 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 and then it goes to like him like, okay, now I'm gonna read some poems. I saw a rainbow on the day of my aunt's funeral. Fucking lesbian. And then he just like he just like hits some chimes or whatever, and then he goes back and does like another thing.
Oh yeah, that sounds like that Dimitri
Martin.
Dimitri Martin.
Yeah, very. I don't even know what.
It's like physical, like you have to like kind of watch it because like he does it on like an easel or whatever.
Yeah.
For certain things like pie charts.
I think I saw him with my dad in Albany. My alarm's going off.
The Dimitri guy?
Yeah, Dimitri Martin. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one guy I watch all the time, if we're like going off topic, is Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
That guy is so weird.
I haven't seen him in forever. Yeah, but he's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I read his book too. If you like nonfiction, I think you'll laugh out loud reading his memoir.
I'll have to put it on my list.
Yeah, it's good. It's based on a true story, not a memoir.
Norm Macdonald based on a true story?
Yeah, not a memoir. It was originally called a memoir, but then people actually, when they read it, they were confused because it was actually not a memoir. Like
literally, it's like, based on a true, like that's the whole title, based on a true story, not a memoir.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's so good. It's got like his moth joke in there, and it's got, I don't know, I just love him because I'm from Ottawa mostly. Like I grew up in Ottawa, and he's Canadian, and maybe that's why I like his humor. Because it's
every time I see him, the first joke I think of was Billy Madison. It's like, what's today? And he's like, October. It's like, no, it's Nudie Magazine Day.
Billy, you're gonna love this. Oh yeah, he's at school.
Yeah, that's a movie I gotta watch again.
Yeah. I just saw Uncut Gems because I caught up on all the movies that I didn't see last year. You could rent them on YouTube, which I did not know. I lived under a rock apparently. So I watched Uncut Gems, which was actually really good.
Not as funny, I hear.
No, it's very serious, and he's good in like drama roles. It's like some people like bash him just because like he has that one character that Adam Sandler always does. He's like that, but yeah, he does other stuff. So
I heard it was good. It looked too intense for me. I have to be in a special mood to handle a film like that.
Yeah, I guess the two guys, because he was on Jimmy Fallon or something I saw on YouTube, and he was two of the guys that are like the people that are going after him to get the money from him for like a bookie or whatever. They are actually like not actors. They act in the movie, but they're not like, they weren't hired on as like they weren't like Hollywood actors until that movie. They were just brought into the movie. So like when they actually choked him, he was being choked. Yeah, he said that. He's like, yeah, they actually were like choking me out in the car.
Right. Oh. Yeah, it looked good. I mean, I might come around to it. I've been interested in watching those filmmakers' movies. That one they did an earlier one with Patterson or something. That guy from Twilight.
That's gonna be Batman.
No, Robert Patterson.
Patterson, and they look interesting. They just look like a little grimy for, my aesthetic, but I have to, like I said, I have to be in the right mood because I like intellectual things. I like things like Drive, you know.
I don't
If you've
think I
seen
saw that.
Drive with Ryan Gosling,
No,
no?
I've
feel
heard
like
of
I've
it.
seen it. I know I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's a slow burn, but it's ultra violent in a way too, which you don't sense it when you first watch it, but it is. That's a good one that I like, but I just I have to get into the mood for it.
Yeah. I also watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Oh
which
yeah,
that's really good, and I like Quentin Tarantino, so
yeah. I mean, I had mixed feelings when I first saw it, and then recently I watched another review of it that said, although it agreed that it was self-indulgent, the reviewer felt like a lot of there was a lot of commentary about not only his career in terms of like where the movie industry is, uh, but everybody's career. I think there was like because he's at the end of that generation of movie makers that blossomed in the 90s, uh, and then now there's like a new generation surfacing. So I mean, I definitely want to watch it again, but there were some things that it just like there were no payoffs, like that whole scene where they're at the ranch and nothing happens, and then the guy, gets back on the horse. You think, oh, there's going to be a conflict when this
yeah,
guy rides back in, and the guy, Brad Pitt just drives off.
yeah. I thought when he went into the house, I thought the guy was actually gonna be dead because it was like the weird hippies of like Charles Manson. So like you thought like they actually like killed the guy or something. So, but yeah,
Right. That
yeah,
was like the parallels they were saying too, that all the the, the cameoed actors are old school guys, from a prior generation too. So it's like, the old generation, I think like this is the Brad Pitt and Leonardo characters were kind of like almost like the middle generation where they're pretty much over the hill almost, and they have to transition to those old guys in like, way supporting cameo roles,
yeah. And I even though I was watching the movie and paying attention, I didn't know that the three like people that went to go like try to murder people at the end. I didn't know they actually went to the wrong house until like I remembered like the Charles Manson, the dude that was playing him, actually went to Margot Robbie's house, like the one that she was at, and that was the house they were supposed to go to, but they
Yep.
went to Leonardo's house instead. So I was like, oh, huh.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah,
that's all fiction. That never happened. Like that
yeah,
never happened. So
yeah.
they have.
Yeah, my uncle said that yesterday. He's like, yeah, what actually happened was Charles Manson killed people, but it was actually at the person like Terry's house that like he actually went to, not the other house. But they did that for the movie, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, but that
Yeah,
was another thing that when I was first watching in the theater, I thought most people don't know any of this history.
yeah,
So I felt like it. I think the filmmaker was assuming that moviegoers knew that history. I know a little bit about it, but I don't know the details of those murders.
yeah. I didn't.
So most people, one, even if they know about Charles Manson and Sharon Tate, they don't know enough. You know, and then some people never even heard of Manson. You know, like like a millennial
Oh,
has.
yeah,
So everything is new to them, and they just don't get anything. They have to reach for things to like in that movie. You know.
yeah, yeah. So, what got you into filmmaking? Because I know that, yeah,
Oh yeah. Well, I've made a couple of shorts, and then I used to do artsy movies. Like back in Canada, I used to do more paintings. Like when I first started, I was self-publishing. I had a small press, which is like digital books I was printing and manufacturing, and then I was painting. and I would record my work in progress and put it on YouTube. But that was like, I think back then nobody was even considering YouTube presence or even marketing or anything like that. So I was just like plopping it up there without any consciousness about like, you know, what I was trying to. Yeah. And then I produced a graphic novel that was a mini series originally, and then I worked with the script writer of it, and then we decided to make a short live action film of a backup story that I wrote. Oh. So yeah, so we did that, and then we shot that in Las Vegas a few years ago, and it was a fun process. And then when I moved to New York, I directed a short live action film as part of a 48-hour film festival, and that was a really fun experience. And then I wrote 2 feature screenplays during that time, and you know, I'm kind of moving in that direction of maybe doing a feature or another short film. And I'm just this year I'm kind of putting things in motion. I also have plans to do a comic, and I'm not sure if the best strategy is to publish the comic and then if it's related to one of the scripts that I wrote, then to try to simultaneously pitch the other while I'm doing that. So I don't know. I mean, in any case, I think I generally want to do a new project this year, want to start a new project and focus on building an audience.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, now's a good time because everyone's on their computer.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know. It's a good time. So
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. This year, I had a whole plan of what we were going to do. It was going to be April 6th, our original Kickstarter. The second one was going to launch, and it was for a video game, which is all indie stuff. So it's indie film, indie art, indie comics. Like just the indie comic part, it's based off of our comic universe, but we also are gonna like guerrilla market the shit out of it. So we have like billboards in it, and we're gonna just put like people that are on our platform, like New Leaf Comics and
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So we're gonna like put that in there. Music posters and stuff that are just indie musicians, and we have a radio that would have indie music on it. So our developer, my friend Scott, he was too busy with his full-time job, which is a building supervisor at a school. So he said that last weekend he had to clean Thursday to Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. He had to clean.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm surprised the school isn't shut down. He's like, oh no, it is. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're having them sanitize it.
Yeah. So he like sanitized everything, and they'll destroy it when they finally go back. But so he's like, yeah, I didn't have time to like finish the demo, which was gonna be like the main reward for the Kickstarter. So I was like, oh, well, I don't want to rush it, so I guess we'll postpone that until like September, which was supposed to be our other Kickstarter of the year.
Oh, jeez.
So I might do a comic Kickstarter like May or June, depending on like if I have the money to pay an artist around this time. And then, yeah, that's how it's gonna work now, since this whole virus thing messed everything up.
Yeah, I feel like people are tightening their belts now, like because they don't know how long it's gonna go. I'm not sure. Right, I'm a little lucky right now because like I have a couple of big projects, but those are going to finish soon, and then we'll see. We'll see. But if anything, I think people are moving to online, so that's good.
Yeah.
Hard for comic shops. I don't know, and I would imagine young adults and kids would still spend money on comics online and entertainment.
Mhm.
Because that's what I did when I was a kid. I like all my money was spent on that because parents paid everything, right?
Yeah. That's why it's funny when some people are like, "Why would I want to like read a digital comic?" I'm like, "Cause maybe you can't go outside, and now you can't." So
To fight the viruses. That's why.
I think one thing I haven't considered is like students, they also have loans, so they're living off loans, and they're just like, you know, they have, and they got credit cards. Because I'm trying to remember now when I was a student, I had loans, I had money saved from like part-time work, and I had credit cards. I had the best credit because nobody I was just born into the world, you know. Well, they just you have a big label that's like young sucker. So so they have all this, and then they don't nobody thinks beyond like next spring, like
Yeah.
when you're young.
So
Some
yeah.
don't think beyond this spring. There's some people down in Florida right now partying on because they're like, it's my spring break.
I saw that those guys are idiots.
Yep.
But I mean, they were idiots before this.
But we've been planning it for like a month.
Right. I saw that. I saw those videos. I mean, God bless them. I
They're
hope
they're probably the same people that are hoarding the toilet paper.
I doubt it. I don't think
They're
that's
building thrones with it.
But I find that aspect of this panic kind of sad, because I feel like this is like it's like society boiled down, to like this is what we're really worried about, is like
Yeah.
like you know not having enough toilet paper. That's what it boils down to. I mean, I I think that's like not enough foresight.
No, I think it's mostly just media driven. Like one of the big things that happened recently, my cousin was telling me about this, was that some banks might actually get shut down because of the quantity of people taking out 6 figures out of their bank account. Now think about that. That means that they're intelligent enough to have earned and saved 6 figures, but dumb enough to think that they should pull it out of a bank when right now people are stocking up on food and guns. Because I'll tell you this, if they take your money out of your house, the government doesn't cover that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. It's very media driven because, obviously one person might have gone, ooh, I should take some money out of the bank just in case. And then all of a sudden the media is like, hey, everybody's doing this. And then all of a sudden everyone starts doing it. Like the same with the grocery stores. Like, people are stocking up like it's going to be a tsunami and you're not going to have access to the grocery store.
Right.
It's a pandemic. Trucks can still drive during pandemics. They still work. Pandemics don't fight gasoline or engines or trucks or blacktop or food. So that's basically like the main thing, is that a lot of it was fear driven by the media so that they can get their clicks. So that's why people, like, because there's zero reason to go collect toilet paper. Like they're like, people were killing each other over it, and yet, like, I would go to the store, the toilet paper would be gone, but the canned foods were stocked sky high, right? Like that's not foresight. So it's that's why it's just illogical fear. And then somebody was like, don't forget toilet paper. And they're like, toilet paper. I forgot about toilet paper. And they forgot about food too. But yeah. So it's just a bunch of people that are really scared. And then the media points at something and they all just run like, chickens with their heads cut off.
Yeah.
I guess without the head.
Yeah, my grocery store was, some of the cans were gone. I had trouble finding like, the usual size of rice that I buy. And then almost all the pasta was gone. And I was like, come on, like, I mean, that's bad. It's like, you can't just carbs, like everybody's going to fatten up. You
Well,
know?
think about it. They got to fatten up to survive this long winter.
Oh my
Got a carb overload. Getting ready for the hibernation.
And pasta sucks. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But people.
Yeah, I wasn't buying pasta because like I'm trying to buy like more meat and stuff. But like I went over to the meat section and there was some weird types of steak that I've never heard of. Not flank, but there was like just weird types of like cuts and stuff. And then the only actual meat that was like still there was grass-fed beef. That was it. And I was like, what? Like chicken was gone. It was
I
gone.
was about to say, like, if I was like if I worked for a grocery store or if I worked for a food distributor, I would be going to every store because like I was looking at some of the aisles, like you go into the ice cream section and there's like 3 sections missing and then all the other ice cream's still there. And you're like, oh, like now we know which ones to market because like these are the only ones that when people think the world's gonna end, they're like, I better get my snickerdoodle, and it's like,
Yeah.
Christ, like
Yeah. I would imagine probably like the Bayers, like the cheap stuff, or like Ben and Jerry's that are on sale.
Ben and Jerry's is actually like super cheap right now. I
Yeah.
just saw that. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy it. But
maybe just one.
Well, they're
but it went from like
cheaper for local.
460 something, whatever it usually is, and it's like 299. And I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. So
Well, if you're trying to avoid a cold, you don't want to
yeah,
friggin'
yeah.
load up on sugar. That's going to bring your immunity down. People are, anyway, whatever. I'm trying to do my best, like diet wise, and I actually did take a walk yesterday in the park, and people are desperate for like human contact. One person said hey, and I said hi back, and that was very fulfilling.
You saw them skip away.
Yeah. And then there were families and stuff. Like I might go today, but I think like the governor is actually recommending that people stay in. It's like a ban.
Yeah, there's the curfew. Yeah, Emperor Cuomo is doing a pretty good job making sure that all his people are staying right where he wants them to be. Yeah.
It's fascinating. It's almost like a 1984-ish sort of.
Now I get that reference.
Hmm?
Oh yeah, yeah. This mother, beeper over here. I couldn't believe it. I was making a reference one day, and I was like, "Have you not read 1984?" And don't get me wrong, like I haven't even read the whole book, but like I know all of the concepts from the book because we were forced to read it in class. And he was like, "No, no, we never read it." I'm like, "That's like the one book. Like some people read Catcher in the Rye, some people read The Grapes of Wrath." But everyone reads 1984. How did your school like just skip that one? Like that's what almost every major movie that has some big governmental organization in it is based on. Like The Matrix, a huge chunk of that is based on that concept, right? Yeah. But no, exactly. Like that's the. Oh yeah, actually, I bought a physical version of that book somewhere. I forgot where I put it, but I picked up a physical version too because I wanted to read through it. Because that's what you're right though. That's what I was thinking of when all this stuff's going down. I was actually listening to Joe Rogan recently. Like he's not like an expert in anything, but it's just the fact that he says what a lot of people think in unique ways to make you think in unique ways, right? And he was talking about the fact that like these government officials have never dealt with something like this, so it's impossible to actually know what the right thing to do is. But the issue is that a lot of them are doing things knowing that they have to run an election again later and they need to stay in there, so they don't want people mad at them. And so the issue is they're doing a lot of stuff that they think the majority of the people will like, whether or not it's necessarily a good idea or not. So like it's good for people to social distance, but it's not good to quarantine people because guess what? If everyone loses their job and they have children, guess what's going to happen? Those children aren't going to eat and more people aren't going to be in good positions, right? Like they're not thinking a lot of this through. Like so it is pretty interesting like how they went full government takeover kind of thing, like overnight, and people are just like, yeah, this makes sense, and I'm like, am I the only one who's read that book? Maybe. Like,
Right, it's like, yeah, this makes sense. Restrict our freedom.
well, like because my big thing is like I totally understand like why people are freaking out. I understand something has to be done, but I think the way they're doing it, the way that they're restricting things, like I think that they should have done it much closer to the don't smoke campaigns that the government runs, because the whole concept is to inform the public to know what the right decision is so that they will intelligently make it, because if given information, I believe most people know what to do with it more often than not. There'll always be that kid that goes down to Florida, or that lives in Florida, or is just a person in Florida that is going to do something stupid. But outside of that, like usually people can handle themselves. And so like like there's obviously like there's levels to which you have to be careful, but the way that they did it is, it's one of those things where I laugh about stuff like this, because no matter what side you agree on, this particular concept made me laugh the other day. There's a lot of people on the left that are like, Donald Trump is bad and we shouldn't have guns, and then it's like, you realize that if you say both of those things, you mean that the bad man should come take your guns.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not thinking all the way through, because he's not always going to be the one there, right? It could be somebody worse if you don't like him, right? Or it could just be somebody who does something different, right? And so it's like, it's the same concept with this. Like, people are like, yeah, it's cool that they completely shut everything down, and it's like, it's kind of terrifying that they can, right? Like,
Right. That's a great point you make. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm very much for what is it? I think it's Ben Franklin's quote. If you give up freedom for security, you will get neither and deserve neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I'd much rather have the freedom knowing a lot of bad stuff can happen, because in the long run, the less freedom you have, I like the correlation I do for this is like literally Hitler, before he killed millions of people, fixed plumbing, fixed streets, fixed buildings, right? He was doing positive things, and then suddenly he murdered 6 million people, right? Like, so just because you think this path might look good, like, you need to see history and the fact that the way it's done is much more important than what is done.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to live,
Yeah, just deep philosophical thoughts
Yeah.
for this comic book podcast.